I'm Yatri, you're watching TimesXP and welcome to the top US news today. India and the United States recently held a major military training event called Exercise Tiger Claw, a special operation drill involving elite forces from both the countries. Well, this is the very first time that the special forces of the Indian Air Force and the United States Air Force trained together independently in such a focused way. The exercise ran from May 26 to June 10 and took place across different parts of northern India, with the final stage happening at Garud Regimental Training Center in Chandinagar, Uttar Pradesh. Well, this base is where India's Garud Commandos, an elite special force unit of the IAF, are trained. Well, the main goal of this 2-week joint drill was to help both the air forces to learn how to work closely and efficiently together in real combat situations. Through shared missions, planning, and execution of training exercises, soldiers from both the countries got a better understanding of each other's tactics and ways of operating. Now, this kind of training is called interoperability, which means that the forces can smoothly combine efforts in the future if needed. Both sides also exchanged ideas on special operation techniques and best exercises to become even more efficient. You know what exactly makes this particular drill special is that while India and the United States have previously trained together in other Air Force exercises like Hope India, Tarang Shakti and Red Flag, this was the very first time that they conducted an independent exercise focused only on their special forces. The name Tiger Claw was chosen because tigers are known for their strength, sharp flexes and strategic attacks, qualities that are essential in special operation missions. These elite forces often work in secret and are trained to carry out important missions like capturing or eliminating dangers that are ahead, either in their own country or abroad. This joint training is also an important part of India's long-term plan to bring all its special forces under a single command structure. In 2019, India created the Armed Forces Special Operation Division, which is a part of special unit that brings together commandos from the Army, Navy and Air Force. The division includes Army's Parachute Regiment, Navy's Marcos and IAF's Garud Commandos. Although AFSOD is still being developed and fine-tuned through joint simulations and practice missions, the goal is to have a highly skilled team that can work quickly and quietly on important missions. Exercises like Tiger Claw are helping this particular vision move forward by giving Indian forces experience in working alongside top-level foreign units. This is specifically important in today's world where India and the United States are becoming closer strategic partners, particularly in the Indo-Pacific region where both countries are concerned about security challenges. 3 women believed to be of Indian origin were removed from a Spirit Airlines flight in the United States after they got into an argument with a flight attendant. The incident happened on a domestic flight and quickly went viral after somebody posted a video of it on TikTok. The video has now been viewed over 4 million times, drawing widespread attention and criticism. Well, the problem began before the flight took off. A flight attendant mistakenly announced that the plane was going to New Orleans when it was actually heading to New York. One of the women corrected her and things began to escalate from there. Even though the flight attendant apologized and admitted her mistake, saying that it is my fault, the woman continued questioning her and appeared quite upset. At one point, they also refused to follow her request to place their bags under the seat in front of them. Things took a turn when the flight attendant, nearly frustrated, told them that they would now be removed from the flight. Just like that, I'm going to make sure you get off. Watch. Woman was heard saying this in the video before walking away. As a result, the airlines called the police and the flight was delayed by more than 1 hour. In a second video posted online, police officers were seen boarding the plane and asking the women to leave. One of the officers told them, "Stand up and walk with us. We can talk outside." But the women refused to cooperate, leading the officer to warn them if they don't leave voluntarily, they can be arrested. Eventually, they gathered with their belongings and exited the plane. The flight finally took off after their removal, but the delay and disturbance left other passengers frustrated. Many social media users in both the US and the UK reacted strongly, criticizing the women's behavior. Some said that even though the flight attendant made a small mistake, the women were unnecessarily rude and disruptive. Others pointed out that arguing with airline staff in today's security environment is never wise, specifically when it causes delays and brings in law enforcement. While it is still unclear whether the woman faced any legal consequences or not, the event serves as a reminder that arguing with cabin crew, even over a simple error, can lead to serious trouble. A man from the United States was stopped at Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport after security officers found a GPS device in his bag. Well, the incident happened early on a Wednesday morning as the man was preparing to board on an Air India flight to Bangkok, which was scheduled to leave at 8:25 a.m. During the security check, officers from the Central Industrial Security Forces, who are in charge of airport safety in India, noticed the unusual device and decided to inspect it further. The gadget was GPS tracker made by Garmin, a very well-known brand for navigation technology. However, in India, there are strict rules about bringing in certain type of electric devices, specifically ones that can track locations or use satellite communications. These devices, like GPS units and satellite phones, are not allowed without official permission because they can actually be misused or may pose security concerns. The American passenger was unable to show any legal document or permission slip proving that he had the right to carry the GPS gadget. Because of this, he was not allowed to board the plane. Instead, the CISF handed him over to the Delhi police, who are now looking into the case. Well, it's not clear yet whether the man knew about the rule or simply made a mistake, but officials say that the law is very clear. Carrying GPS or satellite equipments without proper authorization is against India's telecommunication law. Many travelers from Western countries, specifically from US, the UK, Canada, may not be aware that India treats such technology differently, while in countries like Britain or America, it's kind of normal to carry GPS gear or satellite phones for hiking or adventure travel. In India, these devices are tightly controlled under the national security concern. For example, satellite phones have been misused in the past by criminals or militant, leading to stricter policy. Well, this incident serves as a reminder for international travelers to always check local rules before bringing certain electronics into another country. Even a harmless-looking GPS tracker can lead somebody in legal trouble if it's banned or restricted in that region. An elderly Indian couple recently faced disappointment after their US tourist visa was rejected at the US consulate in Mumbai. Well, this happened on June 11, and their story, shared on Reddit, has since sparked a lot of online discussion. Many people are now talking about how important it is to give clear, simple answers during a US visa interview, specifically when applying for B1, B2 tourist visa. The couple said that they were planning to visit the US to attend their granddaughter's engagement. During the interview, the visa officer asked several questions, including why the engagement was happening in the US and not in India. The couple replied that their granddaughter and her future husband both lives in the US, so it made sense to have event over there. They also said that they plan to stay for 15 to 20 days. However, the visa officer was not satisfied and gave them a rejection letter under Section 214B of the US Immigration and Nationality Act. Well, the section is commonly used when the officer believes that the applicants have not shown strong enough reasons to return to their home country after visiting the US. Well, online, many people shared their thoughts and similar experiences. Some said that the couple should have said that they were just attending a wedding, which might have sounded more convincing. Others pointed out that giving long or unclear answers can confuse the visa officer. One person noted that being too honest or detailed can actually sometimes raise some questions instead of helping. Others advise that applicants should always be prepared to show strong ties to their home country, like having your own children living in India, owning a property, or being financially independent. Other users suggested that there might have been a mismatch between the information in the visa application form and what the couple said during the interview. For example, maybe they wrote a different number of days or for their trip on the form. But you know what? This isn't the only case of confusion during visa interviews. A few days ago, a student in Hyderabad was also denied a US visa under Section 214B. Even though he answered a normal question about his education, the visa officer suddenly started asking technical questions. The student didn't answer them well and was told to reapply later. Now, these incidents shows that US visa interviews can be tricky. Whether you are a student or an elderly visitor, it's very important to be brief, honest, and confident. A social media post has recently gone viral claiming that some Indians living in the United States are getting their bank accounts frozen just before being deported. Well, this particular post has created a lot of worry, specifically among Indians who are in the US on temporary visas like H-1B work visas or student visas. Many are wondering, is this really happening or is it just another internet rumor? Well, the original post was shared on X. It said a lot of Indians are getting their bank accounts frozen before being deported. The post claimed that this is a clear sign somebody is about to be sent out of the country. Well, it got thousands of views and comments quickly, but here's the important thing. There is no official confirmation from the US immigration authorities that this is a real or regular practice. Well, this topic matters a lot because thousands of Indian professionals and students in the US are living over there with temporary status. Some have spent years in the US waiting for their green cards, but their stay is still tied to their jobs or their schools. If something goes wrong, like getting laid off, they might lose their visa status and be forced to leave the country on short notice. Well, the idea that their bank accounts might be frozen before they can leave has caused fear among many. People are worried that they won't be able to access their own money to buy tickets, pay rent, or hire legal help. As of now, US immigration authorities have not made any official comment about the freezing bank accounts. There is no law, no formal procedure that says that this happens as part of deportation. Even the US Embassy in India, when asked about a separate case involving an Indian student being deported, said that the country welcomes legal travelers, but that breaking immigration law or overstaying your visa can lead to deportation. But again, there is no mention of bank accounts being frozen in their response. Online, people are reacting in different ways. Some support the strict immigration policies and believe that once a visa expires, the person should leave right away. Others shared unverified stories that they had heard about people from other countries also facing similar issue. One woman said that her husband had an Iranian co-worker who was being sent back and that he had heard about other nationalities too. But all these are personal stories. There is no official data or clear evidence to prove that this is a widespread or the official action. The viral post has come at a time when immigration is a very sensitive topic in the US. Recently, immigration enforcement has become stricter. Everybody knows that. There have been more raids and more deportation, and even videos of Indian students being handcuffed at the airports have gone viral. Politicians, and specifically here we're talking about President Donald Trump, have promised to crack down even harder on illegal immigration, and this political pressure is making many migrants feel uncertain and anxious. So, is it really going on? Well, at this moment, there is no proof that Indian migrants in the US are getting their bank accounts frozen as part of deportation. It might have happened to a few individuals for different reasons, maybe such as banking rules or suspicious activities, but it is not an official US policy. People living in the US on visas should stay calm but alert. It is always a good idea to keep your visa and bank accounts updated, follow all the rules, and speak to a trusted immigration lawyer if you are unsure about anything. Elon Musk, the billionaire behind Tesla and SpaceX, has now admitted that he may have gone too far with some of his recent posts about US President Donald Trump. On June 11, Musk took to his social media platform X and publicly said, "I regret some of my posts about President Donald Trump last week. They went too far." You know what? This sudden moment of reflection came after several days of online drama and political tension between the two powerful figures. Their public clash began when Musk stepped down from a government advisory role, distancing himself from Trump and sharply criticizing a new tax proposal from the Republican Party. Musk didn't hold back in his criticism. He called the tax bill a disgusting abomination and even suggested that Republican lawmakers who supported it should face political punishment. Now, this particular move clearly angered Trump and his allies. The situation escalated further when Trump, during an interview with one of the media houses, issued what sounded like a threat. He warned that Trump would face serious consequences if he tried to use his money to support political opponents running against current Republican leaders. Trump made it very clear that he was not interested in making peace, saying that he had no plans to reconcile with Musk. Things took a more controversial turn when Musk, in now deleted posts, hinted at something much darker. He posted that Trump might be connected to Jeffrey Epstein, that disgraced financier who had ties to many high-profile individuals and died in jail in 2019. Musk claimed that this might be why the government has kept some Epstein-related documents sealed. However, Musk offered no proof to support this serious accusation and didn't explain what files that he was referring to. He simply told his followers to mark this post for the future and claimed the truth will come out. By Saturday, both of Musk's posts about Trump and Epstein had quietly disappeared from X. No explanation was given. When asked about Musk's suggestion, Trump brushed it off. In an interview, he said that it was an old news and insisted that he had nothing to do with Epstein, pointing out that even Epstein's own lawyer had said that Trump was not connected. Now, this clash between Elon Musk and Donald Trump is more than just a social media argument. It reflects the growing shift between the powerful conservative voices in the United States, specifically after Donald Trump came to the office. Musk, who once supported Trump's policies in areas like business and space exploration, is now challenging key Republican decisions and using his massive online army to stir debates. In the meantime, Trump remains fiercely protective of his political base and is quickly pushing back against anybody who threatens it, even somebody as wealthy and influential as Musk. What makes this feud specifically important is that both Musk and Trump are public figures who have the ability to shape national conversation. Trump runs companies that employ tens of thousands of influential global industries. Bhavan Patel, a Gujarati man living in Saka Falls, New York, found himself in serious trouble after a late-night traffic stop. What started as a small issue, driving a car with no light on the license plate, quickly turned into a much bigger problem once the police officers took a closer look inside his vehicle. To their shock, the officer saw a 2-year-old child sitting in the front seat of the car. Not only was the child sitting in the front, but there was no car seat or proper safety system to protect the child, something that is strictly required under US laws. In America, driving with a child without a proper baby seat is considered extremely dangerous. Even walking with a baby in public without a stroller or baby carrier can get parents into legal trouble if somebody reports it. As the officer continued their investigation, they suspected that Bhavan Patel had been drinking. After conducting further checks, they arrested him for driving under the influence, that is, DUI while carrying a child, a crime that is taken very seriously in the United States. He was charged with endangering the welfare of a child and drinking drunk with a child. And that's a felony, by the way. In New York, the specific offense falls under what's known as Lindra's Law, named after an 11-year-old girl who died in drunk driving crash. Under the specific law, driving drunk with a child in the car carries harsh penalties. If convicted, then Bhavan could face up to 4 years in prison, a $1,000 fine, and his driver's license could be suspended for 1 year. Even after getting his license back, he would have to install a special device in his car for 6 months. This device is called ignition interlock. Checks whether the driver has alcohol in their breath before the car was even started. Well, the final punishment Bhavan may face will depend on the results of his blood alcohol test and whether he has committed similar offences in the past or not. He was released on bail for now, but he must appear in the court. These type of cases are not rare, by the way, in America. Drunk driving leads to thousands of deaths every single year. Just recently, a Gujarati family in Massachusetts suffered a tragic accident where a drunk driver hit their vehicle. Another layer of concern in Bhavan's case is his immigration status. Although the authorities haven't said whether he is a documented migrant or not, people without legal immigration status who are caught drunk driving can face deportation. In fact, it has become common for ICE to arrest such individuals directly from the court when they show up for the hearing. Just 2 months ago, a similar case happened in Tennessee where a Gujarati man was caught in the similar situation. He was drunk driving and he was immediately taken into custody and he was sent into the deportation process. That's because DUI charges can have direct impact on a person's immigration case. One mistake behind the wheel can actually cost somebody not just fine or jail time, but their entire life in the US. So this case is a strong reminder to every immigrant, specifically parents, that US law around child safety and alcohol are extremely strict. Indian-American businessman Sabir Bhya, best known as the co-founder of Hotmail, has recently found himself in the middle of a big online controversy. It all started when Bhatia posted on social media that India should not be proud of becoming the world's fourth largest economy because, according to him, 415 million Indians still survive on just $3.10 a day. His comments triggered a strong backlash, specifically from Indian social media users, many of whom called him for using old and incorrect data and for making such a remark without acknowledging the progress India has made. People were quick to respond and didn't hold back. Some users mocked him by saying things like, "Change your surname first before criticizing India," implying that despite living in the United States, Bhatia still holds on to his Indian identity and should be more respectful. Others accused him of seeking attention and trying to stay relevant by saying controversial things online. One person even commented that what happened to the Rafale jet that you promised to gift India? Do something meaningful instead of just tweeting for attention. Bhatia, who sold Hotmail to Microsoft for $400 million back in 1997, hasn't seen similar success since. Many users pointed out that his later business ventures kind of failed, and they questioned why somebody who haven't built anything successful in years was actually lecturing India about its economy. They also reminded him that while India has its own problems, it's also the fastest growing major economy in the world and has made real progress in reducing poverty and improving infrastructure. Some even challenged his logic by saying that the United States has over $36 trillion in debt. So, should it also feel ashamed? After that, Bhatia responded to it by saying that the US doesn't brag about being number one. But this answer didn't win him any supporters either, as people said that he was ignoring facts and making unfair comparisons. Despite all the criticism, Bhatia didn't back down. In fact, he posted the same comment again in Hindi, trying to reach a wider Indian audience. This move also sparked reaction, with many saying that instead of repeating the same message, he should try to offer real solution or contribute positively to India's development. Now, this whole situation reflects a common debate among Indians who are living abroad. How much should NRIs criticize India, and do they have the rights to do so? While some believe that it's very important to point out what's wrong, others feel that if you have left the country and haven't contributed recently, your criticism sounds hollow. Sabir Bhatia's post may have come out of a place of concern. But the way he said it, using outdated numbers and a tone that seemed insulting, ended up alienating many Indians who felt proud of the country's economic progress. A very well-known American foreign policy expert has warned that United States President Donald Trump is making mistakes in how he's treating India, and that it could damage the strong relationship between both the countries that have been built over the years. Walter Russell, a respected scholar from Bard College and Hudson Institute, shared his views on a piece in a Wall Street Journal. He said that while India was one of the few major countries that openly supported Trump's return to the power, the mood in New Delhi is now starting to change, and not in a good way. At the start of Trump's second term, many in India had high hopes. Indian leaders expected some disagreements on trade, but thought that these would be balanced by stronger cooperation on security, technology, and regional power issues. India specifically appreciated Trump's support for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, his tough talk on China, his Middle East peace effort, and his recognition of India as a rising global power. There was a real hope that US-India ties would grow even stronger under Trump. But 5 months in, that optimism is fading. He says that the Indian government and its people are upset about several things. One big issue is the deportation of Indian nationals. While deportations also happened during Trump's first term, about 6,000, this time it caused a bigger outcry because of how the deportations were handled. Indian citizens were reportedly shackled and flown out on military planes, something that many people in India found deeply humiliating. Another problem arose when, without any warning, the US State Department paused new student visa interviews for Indians on May 27, 2025. This move upset many because Indian students have become the largest groups of international students in the US, specifically after numbers from China dropped. Education is a major area of cooperation between the two countries, and this visa halt sent a confusing and negative message. The situation got worse when Trump criticized Apple's decision to move iPhone production from China to India. Well, this was seen in India as the US was not supporting India's economic rise, even though moving production to India would actually help reduce dependency on China, something both countries claim that they want. Then came the serious issue, the attack in India that was done by Pakistan. But instead of firmly backing India, the US released a balanced statement asking both sides to calm down. And to make things worse, Trump later posted on social media claiming that he had helped mediate between India and Pakistan, something that embarrassed India's leader, who felt that the US was making light of their security concern. He also said that Trump's administration needs to understand that US-India relationship is not just about working together to challenge China. Yes, both countries see China as a major concern, but for India's people, economic growth and national pride matters just as much, if not more. And when India feels disrespected or ignored, even small issues can become big problems. He pointed out that comparing India to China really upsets many Indians, and we cannot disagree. Pakistan is seen as a struggling country with deep economic and political problems, while India sees itself as a global power that deserves respect. So, treating both countries as equal is seen in India as unfair and insulting. In the end, he warned that Trump's administration risks pushing India away just when the US needs stronger partners around the globe. United States immigration authorities are now using a powerful new tool to find and deport people who are living in the country without legal permission. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has developed a special app that helps officers track down people with deportation orders. This technology is part of a bigger push by none other than US President Donald Trump's team to keep aggressive targets for daily deportation. The app, called the Alien Tracking and Removal Act, is in its early stages, works like a map. It shows areas across the country where people with final deportation orders are living. IC officers can zoom into these hotspots and find individuals who are already supposed to leave the US but haven't yet. According to the reports, the app stores the details of over more than 700,000 migrants and displays their information in a very simple format that agents can quickly understand, almost like a digital ID cards. ICE is not doing this alone, by the way. The app gathers data from several US government departments, including the FBI, the US Marshal Service, ATF, and Social Security Administration, and more. Officials say that they plan to expand the app to include data from the IRS, housing authorities, labor departments, and health and human services as well. Well, the tool is not only being used to find undocumented migrants, it also highlights those with criminal records, making them more likely to be deported quickly. IC officials in Miami told the New York Times that the app helps their officers focus only on people who already have final orders from judge, making enforcement faster and easier. Well, the push to increase deportation is being led by Stephen Miller, one of Trump's top advisors. Known for his tough views on immigration, Miller has been pressuring ICE to arrest at least 3,000 people a day. He has even asked if it's possible to deport 1 million people by the end of the year. In meetings with ICE, he reportedly instructed officers to target public places like Home Depot parking lots and 7-Eleven stores where undocumented migrants may be found. Now, this particular campaign has already led to massive ICE raids in places like Los Angeles County. In some areas, the situation has turned violent, with clashes between protesters and police. Trump has since called in the 4,000 members of National Guard to help with the enforcement. Agents are now also being told to arrest people outside courthouses, even if their cases are dismissed or if they're simply visiting the court. For immigrants who arrived in the US less than 2 years ago, there is now a fast-track deportation process, meaning that they can be removed without even going in front of a judge. ICE is also encouraging ordinary Americans to get involved now. They are asking people to report suspected undocumented immigrants by calling a special tip line. In one social media post, ICE wrote, "When you call our tip line, we listen," and included a video of officer arresting men outside a hardware store in Maryland. But at the same time, the government is offering a new program for people who want to leave voluntarily. If they use a special app called the CBP Home app to self-deport, they won't be fined and they'll even receive free travel and $1,000 bonus. Well, the government says that this option allows undocumented migrants to leave on their own terms and possibly return legally in near future. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in and do follow TimesXP for more such updates.